Ambassador, you've shown the courage to come forward today and testify. Notwithstanding the fact you were urged by the White House or State Department not to, notwithstanding the fact that, as you testified earlier, the President implicitly threatened you in that call record, and now the President in real time is attacking you. What effect do you think that has on other witnesses' willingness to come forward and expose wrongdoing?
Well, it's very intimidating.
It's designed to intimidate, is it not?
I mean, I can't speak to what the President is trying to do, but I think the effect is to be intimidating.
Well, I want to let you know, Ambassador, that some of us here take witness intimidation very, very seriously.
This whole hearing turned on a dime when the President tweeted about her real time. And during the questioning, Adam Schiff stopped the Democratic questioning to read the President's tweet to her and get her response. Now, that enabled Schiff to then characterize that tweet as intimidating the witness or tampering with the witness, which is a crime, adding essentially an article of impeachment real time as this hearing is going on. That changed this entire dynamic of this first part of this hearing, and Republicans now are going to have to take the rest of this hearing to probably try to clean that up.
Even Fox News is admitting that Trump's decision to take to Twitter and attack Marie Yovanovitch while she was testifying was a really misguided move. He wrote, "Everywhere Marie Yovanovitch went, it turned bad. She started off in Somalia, how'd that go? Then fast forward to Ukraine, where the new Ukrainian president spoke unfavorably about her in my second phone call with him. It is a US president's absolute right to appoint ambassadors. They call it serving at the pleasure of the president." And the impact of this tweet cannot be overstated, because what you now have is a Republican Party who has to defend a president whom they claim isn't committing crimes as he is committing crimes in real time. According to the US Code, the following constitutes witness tampering: whoever knowingly uses intimidation, threatens, or corruptly persuades another person or attempts to do so, or engages in misleading conduct toward another person with intent to influence, delay, or prevent the testimony of any person in an official proceeding. And what makes this even worse, because of course it gets worse, is that Yovanovitch had just finished explaining to the House Intel Committee that she'd already felt threatened by Trump when he released the summary of his call with Zelensky, showing that he promised she was going to, quote, go through some things.
But he said, well, she's going to go through some things. What did you think when President Trump told President Zelensky and you read that you were going to go through some things?
I didn't know what to think, but I was very concerned.
What were you concerned about?
She's going to go through some things. It didn't sound good. It sounded like a threat.
Did you feel threatened?
I did.
In other words, if there was any doubt before as to the credibility of this witness, those doubts were completely eliminated by virtue of Trump proving that, yes, he was perfectly apt to threaten and intimidate this person, so much so that he did it in real time at the hearing where his misconduct was being investigated. And so now, instead of focusing on whatever defense they had teed up, Republicans are once again immediately relegated to playing defense by virtue of Trump's physical inability to not commit crimes. Although it's not as if their prepared defense would have been any better considering what we've heard thus far. That the whistleblower is a partisan, that you can't file a complaint with secondhand information, that Schiff counseled the whistleblower, that impeachment is unconstitutional, that Democrats are blocking Republicans from the private depositions, all lies and all immediately swatted down as soon as the GOP propped them up. And so now it's only a matter of time before Republicans once again gaslight the American people and pretend that Trump didn't actually intimidate Marie Yovanovitch, despite the fact that it was Marie Yovanovitch herself that said she felt intimidated. For a party that has spent days discounting the testimonies of George Kent and Bill Taylor because they're not first-hand accounts, I'm not sure how much more firsthand you can get than the witness herself stating that she's being intimidated in real time in front of the entire nation. At some point, the GOP has to realize that what they're defending is utterly indefensible. They're being forced to attack decent, nonpartisan diplomats like Marie Yovanovitch, someone who has dedicated and nearly sacrificed her life in service of this country, who has served under both Democratic and Republican administrations, who has done the right thing on the international stage and received praise and awards for it. This is who the Republicans are attacking, and they're doing so on behalf of a criminal, a man who has admitted to asking Ukrainian President Zelensky for the favor of investigating a political opponent, who withheld desperately needed military assistance until that favor was granted, who tried to hide the transcript of that very call because he knew that it was incriminating, who tried to block his own officials from testifying to Congress in response to legally binding subpoenas. That's whose side the Republican Party is taking. Ultimately, though, Trump shooting himself in the foot is not surprising. This is a man who has shown the nation that he is willing to do whatever necessary to help himself personally and politically. From his campaign's cooperation with Russia before he was even elected, to obstructing justice on 10 separate occasions during the Mueller probe, to trying to extort an ally only one single day after Mueller testified to Congress, this president not only isn't afraid of crime, he embraces it. Every day, at every turn, out in the open, and without shame or remorse. He believes himself to be above the law, only he's finally learning in real time that he's not.